Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia of the ruling New Patriotic Party, NPP, today Sunday conceded defeat to former President John Mahama in Ghana's presidential election held on Saturday. The victory was largely driven by public dissatisfaction with the country's economic crisis, including debt default and an IMF bailout. Mahama, who previously served as president from 2012 to 2017, promised to reset Ghana's economy and renegotiate the IMF deal. His win marks a historic return to power, making him the first Ghanaian president in the Fourth Republic to reclaim the presidency after being voted out. The NDC also claimed victory in the parliamentary elections. Official results are expected by Tuesday. Now, Arise Chief Correspondent Tokunbo Oyetunji is in the Ghanaian capital, Accra, to keep us updated on this. Hello, Tokunbo. Good to have you. Tell us what's going on in Ghana after the concession of the Vice President, Bawumia.
Thank you very much, Omobola. Welcome to Accra, the city in celebration right now, not just the Accra city that is in celebration. The reports from every part of Ghana actually indicate that there is wide jubilation going on the streets, though, like you rightly mentioned, the official results have not been released by the Electoral Commission yet. We're in Accra here, standing by, to go into the National Collation Center, where officially the results will be announced by the chairperson of that commission, Jean Mensah. But like you rightly mentioned too, a leading contender and the outgoing vice president, who is the candidate of the National Patriotic Party, that's Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia, has conceded victory to the candidate of the National Democratic Congress, that is former President John Mahama, who is now the presumptive president-elect of the Republic of Ghana. He actually confirmed the concession by Alhaji Bawumia earlier today, about an hour, 30 minutes ago. He tweeted in his official X handle, and let me just read what he said in that message to you. He said, "I have this morning received a congratulatory call from my brother, Dr. M. Bawumia, following my emphatic victory in Saturday's election. Thank you, Ghana." I mean, that's like some kind of an acceptance speech before the real official acceptance speech that will come after the election. The victory has been validated by the Electoral Commission. So, following that, of course, we try to get across to his camp. But we learned that right now, as we speak to you, is in church. That I even got that message, that congratulatory call from Alhaji Bawumia, the vice president, and his opponent in the election, while he was worshiping in church. So he's still in church right now, and we are waiting for him to be out, to see what his own official reaction will be to, Ghanaians, and if we're able to get some kind of interview with him, and how his supporters would take this, especially when the results are announced officially by the Electoral Commission. So for now, I mean, the streets are a bit deserted. It's a Sunday. What we can see, that there are few vehicles on the road, but a few minutes ago, we had some of his supporters actually moving about, jubilating, celebrating what they now see as the return of John Mahama as the president-elect of the Federal Republic of Ghana.
Very good, Tokunbo. Yesterday, just as we spoke, I was going to ask you that question, whether this particular election was more of a referendum, on the people of Ghana, especially with the outgoing government now. Now, with the results, well, still unofficial, but at least the concession of defeat by the vice president, that has already been taken place. Now, what is the wider implication of conceding, defeat without much rancor. That we've seen the vice president do that. We still have African leaders today in their 80s and almost 90s still adopting this sit-tight syndrome, irrespective of whatever the results have shown, that probably the people have spoken, but they just turn the tide elsewhere. We're seeing such scenarios, but Ghana has given us that indication of a smooth transition from one elected government to another. So what is the wider implication of democratic norms, in the West African bloc and beyond, you think?
I get your point, Ghana, let me chip this in. Ghana is taking a cue from his big brother, Nigeria. This happened in Nigeria in 2015 when the incumbent president actually called the opposition candidate Buhari then, who Ebele Goodluck Jonathan. Quite interestingly, former President Goodluck Ebele, as we speak with you, as an envoy of the African Union monitoring this exercise, we are looking to see if we can few words of reaction on what is. So you rightly mentioned it. Alhaji Bawumia is conceding victory to Mr. Mahama. That is just taking an example from what Nigeria did some few years back. Coming to Ghana, where we are, which is the issue right now. I think Ghana has demonstrated, quite frankly, that it is a leading democratic light in this sub-region. And everybody, and including the international world, actually agrees to that. Let me tell you that in the build-up to these elections, like 2 weeks back, the British High Commission in this country actually, specifically the High Commission, actually issued a statement expressing fears about possible violence that could erupt during, before, during, and probably after this election. But some Ghanaians, some prominent Ghanaians, including a professor at the University of Ghana, actually came out to say no, Ghana does not want to be seen in that light. And the entire country today, by the action of Alhaji Bawumia, has shown that no matter how heated the debates are, no matter how negative the rhetorics appear to be, they can rise beyond those sentiments. Those were just campaign. This was just the campaign period. Now the campaigns have been over. Election is over. The process is still on as we are waiting the official result. But they can rise beyond all those issues, all those rhetorics, and put Ghana first. That is what the candidate of the NPP, Alhaji Bawumia, has done here, and it shows so much that democracy has come to take its firm roots in Africa, and especially in Ghana, where we are reaching you from. So, going forward, the whole world will now expect the victorious man, the presumptive president-elect, Mahama, to actually be equally magnanimous in his victory and put Ghana forward with all the issues that need to be addressed for Ghana to move forward, being addressed fairly without any trying to get back at any political opposition. Politics by now should be over. After the declaration, governance should be next, and governance should be to the benefit of everybody in Ghana, including those who are going out of government at this point.
Updates there, looking at the fact that, yesterday we were talking about the peaceful conduct of the elections, and you were about telling us the fact that many of the people came about doing their businesses without any form of violence or the other. And I'm just interested in what you think Nigeria can learn. Yes, we know Nigeria is the giant of Africa, but what you talked about happened in 2015, but it wasn't the same in 2019. It wasn't the same in the 2023 elections, where there were some forms of violence and all that. What lessons do you think we can learn, especially in the conduct, the preparations, and the fact that it wasn't too, militarized as we usually see in Nigeria?
Omobola, very, very good point you have raised there. before I move forward, delve into that issue, let's state it. I mean, we reported it a few hours before now that the election that we are reporting from here in Ghana has not been totally free of violence. The police authorities in Ghana actually confirmed that 2 people have been killed and 2 others injured, and 8 people have been arrested in connection with the shootings that actually led to the death of those 2 people that we're talking about. So, I mean, that is a sore point in this whole exercise. There were also, pockets of, violent activities by, some people, voters, some political party members, and even some security agents. I mean, there was a particular scenario that was actually very, very scary. 2 military men, I think 4 of them, but we saw 2 military men who actually approached a voting center, and somebody, one of the voters and one of the officials around actually confronted the soldiers, challenging them that they were not supposed, by law, they were not supposed to be very close to the polling unit, except they are called in by the security guys on ground, which is supposed to be the police, immigration guys, and the rest of them who are not armed. So it actually degenerated into some kind of fisticuff, and those military men had to actually, shoot into the air. So I mean, issues like that we saw. So it's not been totally free of violence, but talking about what we can learn from what has happened in Ghana. Let me equally point one issue out here. The issue of debate is one particular one that is a very big issue in African presidential contest. We saw how it played out in Nigeria during the 2023 presidential election. The man who is now Nigeria's president, Bola Tinubu, never actually participated in the debate. It's the same thing in Ghana here. The man who is the presumptive president-elect of Ghana today did not debate Alhaji Bawumia. So, I mean, African politicians, African leaders need to actually learn how to present themselves before the electorate, for them to actually assess them, rightly before the elections. Now, talking about what Nigeria can learn from this, of course, I said what is happening now through the concession of victory is taking a cue from Nigeria. Of course, that was a very high point for Nigeria, and the entire world actually applauded Nigeria's democratic process then, and the former president, Goodluck Jonathan. But in 2020, we did not, the issues were not laid to rest until the Supreme Court actually delivered its verdict. I mean, that is one thing that observers, have been saying, that why must it be that at each point it's the court that Nigeria is. I don't know what is good, but if what we are seeing here in Ghana as at this time is anything to go by, I'm not sure that Alhaji Bawumia will be going to court to challenge this victory. We don't know yet. If it does not go to court to challenge the victory, I mean, that is one thing that Nigerian politicians will learn, from the
place to land this analysis.
Because 2020, I was here in this town.
All right, Tokunbo, we know that we can go on and on because the updates are really interesting and really a lot to learn from there. Thank you so much. And do ensure you taste some Ghana jollof before you leave Ghana. Thank you so much for the update. Well, we'll take a break now. We'll continue with Newsday afterwards. Stay with us.